Hi everyone and welcome to Season 8, Episode 2 of From Hope to Glory at Truro City with me, the United City FM. So we are in our first season in the Championship. We've brought ourselves all the way up from Tier 7 to Tier 2 in the English football system. So we're doing fantastically well, although this season I think we might have reached a little bit of a roadblock. We're not doing terribly, we're not in the relegation zone just at the moment, but we're not too far from it. If I can finish there this season, I'll be relatively happy, but it's a long old slog in the Championship. And today we come up against second place Newcastle Utd, one of the big guys of the division. So can we compete with them? Let's find out. So welcome back to Truro City. It is going okay. If we go straight and have a look at the league table, you'll see that we're sitting down in 19th position at the moment on 12 points after 12 games. It's kind of what I was hoping for, really. Just a little bit above this relegation zone. I will be happy at the end of the season, but it's all still very, very close with only 12 games gone, isn't it? We've got 46 games to play this season. If we can average a point out of all of those games over the season, I think that would give us a good chance of avoiding relegation, but we'll have to wait and see. As I say, today, though, we get Newcastle United in the Championship. And the following game for us in the Championship is against Leeds United. So we've got a couple of tricky games to come. But for today, we're focusing on Newcastle. They are going to be really hard. But overall, things are going pretty well. Let's go and check out how we got on so far in the last couple of months of the season. So you and I were together at the very beginning of the season for Peterborough. We got off to a pretty poor start against them and Bristol City, but then picked up 3 wins in a row, Huddersfield, MK Dons and Middlesbrough, before it became very inconsistent, to be honest, over the next month and a half. A few losses in there. Some of the wins were in the Papa John's Trophy, which we've got through the group stage of, so it's worth having a go at that later in the season when we get a chance. We've been out of the Carabao Cup also because we came up against Aston Villa and they played all right. We did pretty well. McJanet got a couple of goals. We lost 3-2, but it wasn't a bad performance, but we did go out of that. We're not in the FA Cup yet. We've got a couple more months to go for that. So most of the next month or two is going to be focusing on the Championship and trying to get as many points as we can. As I say, tricky games coming up though, but recent form has still been patchy. The weird thing about this club so far is, if we go away from this screen for a moment, you'll see that after 12 matches in the Championship, we've scored the most amount of goals, 25 goals scored, but we've also conceded the worst, 31 goals. So there's no doubt what we now need to focus on in the next couple of seasons to improve this side in the Championship, and that is defensively, both in central midfield wise in covering the defence, but also in that back line as well. So January, I'm looking at maybe a right back. That seems to be a weak spot for us this season. Further than that, we do need to upgrade our defence quite considerably as we move forward. But overall, I'm quite happy, really. We are absolutely the minnows of the division. We've got the lowest average attendance. We've got the least amount of wages, all that kind of stuff. And we're doing all right so far, but tricky games to come, not least today against Newcastle United. So for now, we are staying in the 4-4-2 formation that served us well to get us to this point over the last few seasons. It might be, as we move forward, that I drop one of these central strikers into a midfield role of some sort, maybe a holding player, maybe an attacking midfield player for a 4-3-3 or 4-2-3-1. Something to think about, but I think for most of this season, if not all of it, we will be sticking with the 4-4-2 and just trying to avoid that relegation zone if we possibly can. Most players are doing all right. As I say, we've got a little bit of a weakness at right back. Both of those guys have been a bit average. You can see that there's a couple of high average ratings outside of the first team squad today. That's primarily about who those guys were playing their matches against, and they got some of the easier games, like in the Papa John's Trophy. So can't always read into that, but most of the squad has been doing pretty well. The stars of our show have been the likes of Mellon and Zirk, have both got about 6 goals each in the 12 games. And Sarmiento, one of our new signings from the summer, 4 goals and 6 assists in 12 matches off that left wing, is doing really well for us. So he's been an absolute superstar so far. Everybody else contributing quite nicely. And we are doing about as well as you could possibly expect, really, in our debut season in the Championship. So nothing of the setup and the system of players changed, nor the formation. The personnel remains pretty much in this form, which is my normal first team choice. So for today's game, we've got Roberts in goal, Fink at right back, Cerula at left back, Reddy and Wharton in central defence, White and Williams in central midfield, Wright Phillips on the right, Sarmiento on the left, and Mellon and Turk up top. And a bench of Finlayson, Rogers, McManus, Knowles, D'Souza, Hull and McJanet. So let's get into today's game and see what happens. So in terms of team talk, we've got nothing to lose here. We know how good we are. Go and show them. I think that's kind of true. Today it's a bit of a free hit, really. We're not expected to get anything against Newcastle at all. I don't expect it, but you can never quite tell. That was a decent long shot from them, though, on the edge of the box. But for today, it's just about trying to compete as well as we can, trying to put a good performance in, show that we deserve to be in the Championship, and maybe nick a goal somewhere and just put them under pressure at the right point in the game and see if that can enable us to pull off some form of result. Wright Phillips into the box down the right-hand side, drops it back to Mellon. His strike is blocked by a defender. We pick it up, though. Fink in the right full-back position does well to keep hold of the play. Again, it goes out to Wright Phillips down the right-hand side. Unlucky with the first cross, good on the second cross. Sarmiento unlucky with the finish on the header on that far post. We put a little bit of pressure on, though, and it's Newcastle with a corner kick. Good headed clearance. Who's going to get there first? It is Newcastle, unfortunately. Drop it back into their central defensive area. They go long, and we win the ball back. Sarmiento gets the ball on the left-hand side. But we went too early, too quickly, and Newcastle gather the ball again, and they can counter-attack on us pretty well, and they are doing so. But a good clearance again, and it's one of the two strikers, Mellon, with the ball in the box, has a go at goal, and look at David De Gea in the Championship for Newcastle. Our wage structures are completely ridiculous. Newcastle spent about £128 million in the summer just gone in terms of rotating their squad around a bit. And we really, really didn't. And that's just one of the ways it is that you can see that we're vastly different in terms of the stature of clubs at the moment. And we've got some really tricky ones to compete with. But we're doing okay so far. 21 minutes in. McTominay in central midfield. So it looks like Newcastle have been raiding Manchester United for some of their old boys, doesn't it? And they've worked it very nicely. But Roberts gets everything behind the ball and parries it out wide for a corner kick. So he did his duty there for the goalkeeper. And the ball comes in and a harmless attempt over the top of the bar. It's been quite an open game, a few attempts from both teams. You can see that ours haven't really been on target, which is a bit of a problem for today. But the pressure is beginning to tell from Newcastle, this time down the left-hand side. But again, Fink, who has picked up a yellow card, he has to be a little bit careful there. But he put a really good challenge in on that occasion. But then we chuck it into a crowded midfield. And it really did us in, didn't it? You saw that clearance into a very crowded midfield. Newcastle picked up the ball in that position. It was Wright Phillips trying to clear the ball with his left foot. Williams was under it, lost out. McTominay moves on the ball, and eventually it gets into the box for the striker, and he really does not make a mistake, does he? Powers the ball into that far corner. And we go 1-0 down at 27 minutes, something like that. And it was coming a little bit. You could just see that they were beginning to get their tails up. We're getting our challenges in, especially in that midfield area, which is good, but we don't quite have the out ball. Is that offside? I'm kind of hoping that was offside. It looked a little bit dodgy. If it wasn't, the defence lost its shape completely and fell asleep. We'll have to watch this very carefully. So again, it's McTominay on the ball in midfield. And it's really not offside at all. He came from deep. There was a fellow striker up there holding our back line away from him a little bit, and nobody got close to the person on the ball, and they go 2-0 up. And this is kind of what we were expecting, really. It is still that case that this is a free hit today. I don't expect anything from the match, but I'd kind of like us to actually just get on the ball a little bit and prevent that kind of thing from happening. And we go 3-0 down at 39 minutes. I think we're going to pause it just for a second, go into the tactics, and we're going to move ourselves into the cautious. We're just going to drop in a little bit, solidify ourselves a little bit, and see if that can sort of stop the absolute carnage that Newcastle are currently creating. And it is a decent opportunity for us on a highlight to get the ball over the top for Mellon. He doesn't quite get it. Sarmiento on the loose ball, though, has a strike at goal. It's blocked, and eventually Newcastle get their lines cleared. But we do pick up the loose ball. Wright Phillips again for Mellon into the box, and it's Turk and follow up on White. And we're not quite able to get the fizz on those shots, are we? Whenever it's going on target, it's a little bit tame. Unfortunately, all the power seems to come when we're blasting it either over the top of the bar or to the wide either side of the goal. Turk over the top, though, one-on-one with the goalkeeper, and the goalkeeper stands up, and he doesn't quite get the angle to follow up for a second attempt at the goal. Little bit unlucky there, but we are in the last few minutes of this first half putting on the little bit of pressure, and that's interesting, isn't it? You'd think it's is he offside there? I don't know, but he hit the post anyway. A little bit unlucky again. You'd think that going into the cautious, we'd drop off and not have the attacking impact on the game, but that's not the case at all, was it? And now, unfortunately, DiMaggio, Wright Phillips has picked up a knock. What's he got? A potential thigh injury. So with a few seconds left of the first half, we're going to have to make a change, and Sam Knowles will have to come in and play down that right-hand side. And there is the half-time whistle. We go in 3-0 down now. The last couple of minutes of that first half, I thought we gave it a really good go. There was a period early on where I felt that we held our own. But that central point of 10 minutes between 29th minute and 39th minute, they absolutely battered us for that, didn't they? And they got goals, and that's going to make it very tricky. But all we can do is continue doing what we were doing at the back end of that first half. So we're going to pump the fists and say, I know we're underdogs here. Go and give a performance to cheer from. And as soon as we go out there, we're going to try and fire them up for this second half and see if we can continue where we left off in that first half. We don't immediately, though. The goal kick goes into midfield and Newcastle win it. And they've got numbers, quite a lot of numbers attacking us through the centre. And there's a lot of space down the wide right. The cross comes in. We get partial clearance. And then we do get it booted clear up to Mellon. Knowles picks up the dropped ball, which is really good. Drives at the defence, gets the cross in, and there's a header over the top of the bar from Mellon. Again, it's just the accuracy once we're in and around that penalty area hasn't really been there today, has it? We've created some chances, but not quite got the quality on the finish. De Gea into midfield for McTominay, and they've moved on again, and we've got a bit of an open space down our right-hand side if they can play it down there. We've closed it up a little bit. That's good. And so far, I think what I'm happiest the most amount with is that we've kept shape and we've kept trying to get in the face of the opposition. Sometimes their quality is shown, but we have been attempting to win the ball and keep the shape quite well, which is positive. Just a little bit of lack of quality here and there. And again, it's Newcastle, this time down the right-hand side, get it into the box. We do get it partially cleared again. And it was, we didn't quite get the rub of the green when it got up to that top area for us in the striking position. We lost possession, and at 70 minutes, we're going to pause the game, and we're going to make a couple of personnel changes just to see if we can see out this game without further issue. We've got 2 yellow cards in our back line, something to think about, and a very underperforming Turk, which is unfortunate because he's one of our better players, and you hope that in the bigger games he shows up. So we're going to take Cerula out. And we're going to have to play Rogers there. Unfortunately, he's not our left-sided cover normally, but I could switch Wharton there, but I won't for now. I'll just play Rogers in that position. And I think we are going to take Turk out and put McJanet in and just see if we can get some form of potency up top if we do create a couple more chances. So we'll unpause the game, go back into the shouts, demand more from the team. Corner comes in, partially cleared. Wharton picks up the ball for White to move it on to Reddy. Keep the ball, do not lose it in this position. Our defenders are up there participating in the play because of the recent set piece. So if we lose the ball now, Newcastle could really counter-attack on us. Fink down the right-hand side though, jinks past one of the defenders, gets into the box, crosses it in, and McJanet, the substitute, gets on the end of it for a header, and he scores a really nice goal. Some good build-up play down the right-hand side, specifically from Fink, the guy that I began by saying that maybe we needed to replace at the beginning of the episode. Always the way. If you diss someone, they play well. It's just the way it works, isn't it? Maybe I should just start every episode by dissing the whole team and see whether that works. But a good build-up play down the right-hand side. Eventually, the cross does come in and McJanet rises above the defence and gets a really good headed goal for 3-1. At least we've proven that we can breach them. Williams on a free kick just at the top of the penalty box. Can he put it on target? He can put it on target and he puts it in the goal. What a fantastic strike that was from Williams. Whipped the ball over the top of the wall, right into that top left-hand corner as we're looking at it. Goalkeeper De Gea was flailing, couldn't quite get there. And we've brought it back to 3-2, which is fantastic. Couple of minutes left. I'm not sure we're going to be able to get another opportunity. But that is actually not a bad performance, really, in the big scheme of things. We did lose. But look at the way that the game has settled itself in terms of stats. We had 19 shots and 7 on target, 16 and 9 for them. XG ratings were fairly similar. We had more of it. We should have put a couple more chances at least on target. There was a couple of missed chances in the first half specifically where we should have done better. Passing completion was decent. Possession, they had a bit more of it, but that's okay. We'll have to worry about our injury to Wright Phillips. But overall, that's not a bad performance. And I think we can take some positives from it. Obviously not the win, unfortunately. But for today, it wasn't about that. It was just trying to put in a good performance. And you can see the frustration a little bit around the team, which is okay. We're going to try and build them up. Let's say we were unlucky. That seems to have motivated them. That's good. So we can go back out and see what we're going to be up to next episode. So here we are back in the schedule page. Unfortunately, the slightly average form continues a little bit in the league, which is unfortunate. I thought we did pretty well today, but the quality of Newcastle in that first half, in that 10-minute period, was just too much for us. Other than that, pretty happy ultimately. But with the way that this particular series works, we have 4 episodes that we cover a season in, so it's quite long between episodes in terms of how many games I play. What we're going to come back for next episode is we're going to come back for the Huddersfield match at the very end of the calendar year, just before we go into the January window. And then once we've done the Huddersfield game, the following episode will come back sometime in and around the end of February, early March. And then we'll close out the season in the following episode to that. So that's roughly where we're heading. But next time out will be away against Huddersfield. We'll have played the FA Cup first round, which hopefully we'll get through. I'll be able to update you on that. And there's a good few championship matches in there as well for us to go through. See if we can maintain a position of just trying to keep outside of that relegation zone. The other thing to tell you about Wright Phillips, unfortunately, is going to be out for 5 to 6 weeks, which is unfortunate. We've got some cover, but it's not quite as good. Today's match, though, ends us in the 21st position in the league, which is still just above the relegation zone. So overall, I'm still happy enough. I still think we've got a really good shout of potentially staying in this division. We do need to pick up a few wins, though. It's going to be some tricky games coming up, but overall, I think things are going pretty well. What do you think? Do you think we'll be able to avoid relegation this season? Let me know in the comments below. Until next time, though, thank you for joining me today. I really appreciate it. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Join my United City community, the more the merrier. Click that like button on this particular episode. That'll help me get seen by lots more people. Go and check all of my links in the description below to my Discord, my Twitter account, my Patreon, my merchandise store, all the good stuff. Until next time, though, take care of yourselves. I'll see you very soon. Bye for now.